August 2nd, 216 BC, dawned hot and still. The sun rising over the dry plains of Apulia, near the small village of Cannae. Rome's mightiest army, assembled to end Hannibal Barca's devastating rampage, stood prepared for battle. 86,000 Roman and allied soldiers, a vast sea of red-plumed helmets, shining armor, and rigid discipline awaited the command that would seal their fate. Facing them, outnumbered nearly 2 to 1, stood Hannibal and his diverse army of Carthaginians, Gauls, Spaniards, and North Africans, totaling just 50,000. Roman commanders, Lucius Aemilius Paulus and Gaius Terentius Varro, had devised a straightforward plan: brute force and overwhelming numbers to crush Hannibal's resistance. The Roman legions, confident and resolute, arranged themselves in dense formations, deep and impenetrable, intended to punch through the enemy line. Hannibal, however, had anticipated this approach. Renowned for his cunning, the Carthaginian general had already orchestrated 2 major victories against Rome at Trebia. They closed in with devastating precision, sealing the Romans in a deadly embrace. Packed too tightly to maneuver, the legions found themselves trapped, unable to swing their swords or raise their shields effectively. Varro, realizing the disaster unfolding, narrowly escaped the slaughter, fleeing the field in disgrace. Panic gripped the ranks as soldiers realized their impending doom. Hannibal's masterstroke, the double envelopment, had succeeded beyond expectation. Hannibal studied the enemy, his eyes sharp and calculating. Hannibal's center, intentionally weak, buckled under the furious charge, slowly retreating step by step. The battle remains one of history's most studied engagements, a brutal testament to the power of strategy over brute force and numbers. The Romans surged forward eagerly, confident that victory was imminent. Among the fallen were consuls, senators, and countless knights, Rome's elite gutted in a single afternoon. Hannibal had lost fewer than 6,000 men. Hours passed as the massacre continued, the once proud legions falling in droves beneath relentless blades and arrows. By late afternoon, the battlefield at Cannae had transformed into a scene of unimaginable horror, bodies piled high, the ground slick with blood. Yet, amid this despair, Rome found new resolve. Determined never to allow such a calamity again, the Romans adapted, evolving their military tactics dramatically. The Carthaginian line curved inward like a crescent moon, drawing the Romans deeper and deeper into the trap. The tactic of double envelopment, drawing the enemy into the center while striking their flanks and rear, became a cornerstone of military strategy. Future generals from Scipio Africanus to Napoleon Bonaparte to Norman Schwarzkopf studied Hannibal's tactical brilliance, recognizing the devastating effectiveness of the maneuver. The moment was near. And Lake Trasimene, but he knew Cannae could be his greatest masterpiece. Observing the Romans from atop his horse, Hannibal issued quiet, deliberate commands to his generals, deploying his troops in a crescent formation with the weaker, lighter infantry at its center and his elite heavy infantry positioned at the flanks. As the sun climbed higher, heat shimmered off shields and armor. At midday, with a deafening roar, the Roman infantry advanced, an implacable wall of iron discipline and muscle. From his vantage point, Hannibal signaled his cavalry, commanded by the fearless Maharbal. Like a lightning strike, Maharbal led his Numidian and Spanish cavalry around the flanks, overwhelming the Roman horsemen who were ill-prepared for such agility and ferocity. Quickly vanquishing Rome's cavalry, Maharbal's horsemen circled to strike the Roman infantry from behind. At the same time, Hannibal's heavy infantry, his battle-hardened African veterans, pivoted inward from the wings. Suddenly, Rome's enormous numerical advantage turned against them. Lucius Aemilius Paulus, wounded and desperate, struggled to rally his collapsing forces. With ruthless efficiency, Hannibal's forces tightened their grip, methodically destroying the Roman army. When the dust finally settled, over 50,000 Romans lay dead or dying, their vast army obliterated. News of the disaster sent shockwaves through Rome. Mourning filled the city streets. Panic gripped its populace, and for a moment, The heart of the mighty republic faltered. Hannibal's victory at Cannae became legendary, studied for generations. Though Rome ultimately survived and triumphed in the Second Punic War, Hannibal's tactical genius at Cannae changed warfare forever. Today, historians and strategists alike look back at Cannae, not only as Rome's bloodiest day, but as the moment when brilliant tactic reshaped the very art of war.